Today's video is brought to you by the remnants of this cheese sandwich and an apple. Hello and welcome to Intro to Intervals with me, Fake Dr. Levin. Today we're going to talk about sevenths and octaves. I have a totally different way of dealing with sevenths and octaves than I do with any of the other intervals, so it's going to be a little different in this video than in the previous videos. In this video, rather than using a song as an oral reference, I'm actually going to compare octaves and sevenths to each other in order to hear them well. So the first thing I want to do is let's just get our octaves really solid, singing wise, and then finding sevenths will become much easier. So, an octave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 8, 1, 8. They're both the same note. G, 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 but they're a whole scale apart. So you've got the low G and the high G, and that's an octave. It's just the same exact note, one's higher, one's lower. And to sing this, I use the help of switching to falsetto. So you sing the low note in your regular voice, and then sing the high note in your Mickey Mouse voice. Low, high, make sure it's the same note each time. So it's G, G, or A, 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 A. You know, try to make absolutely certain that you're singing the same note low as you are high. And then I use that as my reference point to find sevenths. So what I'll do is I'll think, okay, the major seventh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Octave. Okay, the seventh and the octave, the major seventh and the octave are a half step apart. Doo-da. So to find my seventh, I'll go 1, 1, then up an octave, then down a half step. 1, 7, 1, 7. That's what I'll do. I'll go up an octave, which is much more comfortable for me, then down a half step. 1, 7, 1 octave, down a half step to 7. You can also do this before you jump the octave. You can go 1, down a half step to 7, then 7, 1, 7, 1, 7. So that's what I use, actually, to find sevenths. As I do that in my head, I do it silently. 1, 8, 7. So it ends up sounding like this. 1, 7. But I'm really in my head going 1, 1, 8, 7. Eventually, you don't need to use this reference point. You can just go 1 to 7 because you get really comfortable with the sound and the feeling in your voice. But until then, this is, I think, the most quick and effective way, at least in my experience, of singing sevenths really well. Same thing for flat seventh. Instead of going down a half step, you'll go down a whole step. So we'll go 1, down a whole step to flat 7, 1, flat 7, 1, flat 7, or 1 octave, flat 7, whichever you prefer. I actually tend to go down before I jump the octave, so I'll be 1, flat 7, flat 7. And you end up with this beautiful sound. 1, flat 7, up to the octave, do, 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 down a whole step, up a whole step. So that's how I do it. And as far as where all this fun stuff fits on the fretboard, well, there's a number of ways to play sevenths on the low E and the D string, so skipping the A string. They're going to span 2 frets. On the A string to the G string, same story. But on the D string to the B string, they're going to span 1, 2, 3 frets, like so. For minor sevenths, from the low E string to the D string, they span the same fret, so 1 fret. Same thing for the A to G. But then, for D to B, it's spanning 2 frets, and same thing for G to E. Those are my favorite ways to play sevenths. You could always stretch too. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frets. It sounds really cool. This from the G to B string is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frets. It's a real stretch. And then we're back. back to regular 6 frets. So it's less common to play the 7ths on adjacent strings, and it's more common to skip a string in between. And as for octaves, it spans 3 frets and skips a string. This is true for the E string to the D string and the A to G string. But then when you get to the D to B string, it's 4 frets. And same thing for the G to E string. For today's crazy backing track for singing, we're going to go up an octave, down a half step, then down to the 1 again, and up a major 7th. So it'll give you a nice example of how I use octaves to find my 7ths. 1, 8, 7, 1, 7. I'm going to do the same thing for minor 7ths. 1, 8, minor 7, 1, minor 7, 1, minor 7. And then going down, it'll be like 7, 1, 1, 7, 1, 7, 1, minor 7, 1, 1, minor 7, 1, minor 7, 1, so that you can feel 7ths going up and down, as well as get more practice with your octaves. I hope this series has helped you to get an idea of how you can internalize these intervals in different ways. And the next thing I'm going to do is make a couple useful etudes that will allow you to actually play guitar and use these intervals in really cool ways. I'm going to try to make some really good etudes that are like music you'd want to hear even if it wasn't teaching you something.